Dragon Ball since the early days has been at its core an anime based on true martial arts and hand-to-hand combat. Along the way, however, to Dragon Ball Super, a number of techniques were introduced which helped to amplify the combative abilities and options available to the Z Fighters and of course, our hero Goku. From the very beginning, however, some of the greatest techniques, if not all of them, were taught to Goku by other characters, which often get forgotten about. In today's video, however, we're gonna go through 10 of Goku's greatest techniques and remember who exactly the surprising characters are that taught him them in the first place. But before that, let's remember the sponsor of today's video, Filmora Wondershare 10, which if you didn't know is actually the software I and many Dragon Ball YouTubers use to produce all our videos. And if you ever wanted to become a content creator yourself, this is just the kind of software you'd need. For you guys who want to start a YouTube channel, Filmora actually has a ton of tools here that allow you to edit Dragon Ball videos with ease, and making moving manga videos like the ones I make are simplified greatly using their platform, with a ton of free presets, text filters, overlays and more that can help you make videos in as little as 10 minutes. Within a few minutes I can edit a new manga sequence for an upcoming video in tune with my voice and add the background soundtrack and sound effects. So if you're impressed and want to try Filmora totally for free, check the link in the description and bio. The free version will have a watermark, so for 3 lucky viewers who comment "I want to try Filmora to make" down below, I'll pick 3 of you to receive a free Filmora account. Good luck and enjoy the video. Number 10. Ken, taught by Grandpa Gohan. Now this is one many fans actually completely forget about, but Ken was the physical martial arts technique created by Son Gohan, and is actually seen as Goku's grandpa's signature move. As he trained the young Goku, this would soon become Goku's signature technique before it was eventually replaced by the Kamehameha wave. As the name suggests, this move is comprised of 3 distinct hand techniques: rock, paper and scissors. And though we saw Goku use this fighting technique all throughout the original Dragon Ball, the most famous usage was when Son Goku fought against the Turtle Hermit during the final round of the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament. However, Goku showed that he was prone to calling out the specific hands when utilizing the matching hand strike, treating the move more like a game than a martial arts technique. In doing so, it was possible for Master Roshi, who was disguised as Jackie Chun at the time, to parry each move with an opposing sign meant to block the strike. Safe to say, soon after, Goku found another way to fight. Number 9. Taio Ken, taught by Tien Shinhan, otherwise known as Solar Flare. First used and taught by Tien Shinhan, Solar Flare is a technique that has come to be one of the most useful yet criminally underused techniques of the series. The technique, performed by the user placing their hands close to the center of their face with your fingers spread towards the eyes, causes a massive blinding white light to be released, which blinds everyone in the vicinity apart from the caster and anyone with their eyes closed. The technique is instantaneous and comes out at the speed of light, so being hit by it is almost unavoidable if not predicting it beforehand. Though so many Dragon Ball characters have used the technique, from Krillin all the way to Cell, Goku's most famous usage of the move was during the battle with Vegeta, specifically when he grew into a Great Ape, showing just how powerful the technique is at providing a free escape or opportunity to leave an opponent wide open. Number 8. The Potara Fusion, learned from the old Kai. Now, a fun fact about Potara is that initially they were created as nothing but decoration. But when Akira Toriyama wanted to introduce the idea of fusion without taking away from the upcoming Fusion Reborn movie, their role was changed on the spot to allow for Vegito to be born. This may not be the most difficult technique in the world, give it to someone else, but it's still considered a technique regardless. And as we know from the anime, a fusion using the Potara earrings yields even greater power than that of the fusion dance, with Vados herself claiming the fusion creates a new body and personality greater than the sum of the 2 individuals and increases their power by tens of times. Now, obviously, this has come in handy a ton of times, namely against Buu and Fusamasu, But it's always going to be important to remember this only started because of the words of the old Kai and the retconning of Toriyama himself. Number 7. Instant transmission taught to Goku by the Yardrats. Goku first revealed this technique upon his return to Earth after defeating Frieza. Once he spoke to future Trunks about the impending arrival of the androids and his upcoming death, Goku immediately went on to show his new technique, instant transmission. He placed 2 fingers on his forehead, envisions the key of the target, and instantly at the speed of light can arrive there and arrive back if needed. Pretty useful, and it's played its part many times in both the non-canon movies and in the real anime. Probably the most notable appearance being when Goku combined it with his Kamehameha wave to perform an instant Kamehameha on Perfect Cell, which left him in one sorry state. Always have to remember though, that though this technique has now become one of Goku's signature moves, these lovable pink creatures are the originators and teachers of this technique, along with a number of others that somehow Goku managed to miss learning, but Vegeta did, of course, along with the instant transmission too. Number 6. Taio Ken taught by King Kai. This move, otherwise known as Realm King Fist, is the technique invented by King Kai himself. The caveat is, however, that it's unknown if King Kai himself can even use the technique, as Goku is noted as being the only person ever to use Kaioken successfully. The reason being for this is that the technique multiplies the user's ki for a heartbeat, thus increasing their power and speed and enabling them to inflict serious damage to opponents who are considerably stronger than them. The only downside is the insane toll it takes on the user's body and muscles, leaving them completely hospitalized afterwards if they take it too far. Despite this, Kaioken has come in handy so much that it's one of the few techniques of Goku's that has managed to stay relevant even at the very end of Dragon Ball Super, from being used in the iconic fight with Vegeta to various attempts against Frieza to keep up, to even being used in conjunction with Goku's Super Saiyan Blue form against both Hit and Jiren. For such a useful technique that seemingly has infinite potential in what moves it can combine with, it's important to remember it all came from King Kai himself. Number 5. Spirit Bomb, taught also by King Kai. We couldn't leave the lovable cockroach alone without also mentioning a technique that has truly become synonymous with Goku and finishing off villains, with it all starting off as a simple technique King Kai invented. Also known as the Genki Dama, it is known as quite possibly one of the strongest techniques in the history of the universe, given that its potential is near limitless. Users of the Spirit Bomb gather huge amounts of energy from all chosen surrounding life forms and inanimate objects to conduct that energy into a massive sphere of astounding destructive power. Initially, when Goku first used it against Vegeta, the size of it was fairly small, but still enough to decimate Vegeta to near death. But by the time Goku was using it to stop the legendary foe, Majin Buu, Goku was taking the energy of the entire Earth's population, including the Z Fighters, to create a Spirit Bomb that absolutely dwarfed its target. The Spirit Bomb so far has been one of Goku's final trump cards against Frieza, Buu, and most recently Jiren, with the last example also being absorbed back into Goku, allegedly somehow causing Goku to unlock Omen Ultra Instinct. Yep, that's right, without King Kai, we may have never even seen Goku become this much of a badass. And ultimately, we may never have seen the saving of Universe 7 without old King Kai. Number 4. The Kamehameha wave taught by Master Roshi. The ultimate move synonymous not only with Goku, but Dragon Ball too. I bet some of you thought this would be number 1. But this technique, which is actually the first ever energy wave shown in Dragon Ball, is the signature move of the Turtle School, first used by Master Roshi to put out the flames of Fire Mountain. When Akira was first coming up with the idea of the Kamehameha wave, he actually tried a number of poses when he was alone in order to decide the best pose for the Kamehameha. After some contemplation, he couldn't decide on a name for the Kame attack either, so he asked his wife, Nachi Mikami, who came up with the name Kamehameha. She told Akira that it would be easy to remember the name if the attack he used was the name of the cultural Hawaiian king who was also named the same. Fun fact, it's actually translated in Hawaiian to very lonely one. Which, if you consider how Goku's story initially started, with him being all alone in the woods, talking to his grandpa through a Dragon Ball, it starts to make a whole lot of sense. The Kamehameha wave would then go on to be one of the most seen moves in the entire series, being used by everyone from his own kids Gohan and Goten to even the son of Vegeta, Trunks for some reason. The Kamehameha would be relied on to defeat Vegeta in the Saiyan Saga, Cell in the Cell Saga, Broly in the second movie, and countless other times. Number 3. Mufuba, taught by Master Mutaito, the master of Master Roshi and Master Shen. For watchers of the original Dragon Ball, you would actually know that Goku at one point actually managed to meet and fight Mutaito, but he wasn't actually the one ending up teaching Goku the Mufuba. As expected, it was Master Roshi, and pretty late on in the series in the recent events of Dragon Ball Super. The interesting thing is though that both in the anime and manga, Goku trains in the Mufuba to beat Zamasu. In the anime, Goku ends up never using it, with Trunks ending up being the one to use it. However, in the manga, Goku actually does succeed in using it, it just doesn't work. Despite this is one powerful technique Goku has in his arsenal that is one of the only techniques that allows Goku to beat an immortal villain. Number 2. Hakai, learn from Beerus. Some of you guys watching this video are only anime watchers, so we'll be a bit confused by this, but in the manga, Goku does in fact learn his own version of Hakai from Beerus. Only used once so far, he successfully uses it against Merge Zamasu in the final fight. It was a surprise for everyone considering 1, we thought it was a technique reserved only for Gods of Destructions, and 2, because Goku was never actually shown training to achieve it. Whether he was just trying it out or not though, he definitely only learned it after watching Beerus himself, and he was nearly able to kill Merge Zamasu as a result of it. Number 1. Ultra Instinct, taught by Whis and Miras. This had to be number 1 because remember, Ultra Instinct is a technique, not a form, meaning anybody from Krillin to Yamcha could in theory also master this technique. But typically, so far of all the Z fighters, only Goku has been able to. First unlocking the Omen form and delving into the mastered form against Jiren in the Tournament of Power, before training one-on-one with an angel in training known as Miras. With this inexplicable favourable treatment, Goku was then able to master Ultra Instinct indefinitely, going into and out of it at will, and also somehow gaining powers not even Whis had shown before or mentioned before, creating his own Susanoo version of himself out of the blue, which ended up destroying the new villain Moro. Clearly, this technique is supposed to be the pinnacle of mortal techniques, one learned from angels themselves. And the way things are going, there may be a ton of other special moves like Susanoo that come out of it being used in the future. But that was it for today's video, but Goku has a ton of techniques, and if you think there's one major one we missed that he learned from someone else, comment it down below and I'll make an updated video on this topic. But for more Dragon Ball anime and manga content, click on one of these 2 videos on the right now. Until next video guys, cheers.